UFC heads back to Tampa, Florida for the first time since 2016 and brings with it a pivotal matchup featuring top 10 women's strawweight contenders and number 7 ranked, and we want to say fan favorite, Michelle Watterson joins us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So she literally walks in and I look at her, I'm like, whoa, 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 wait a second. You are adorable. You are dressed fabulous. You not necessarily what people would picture when they think of somebody who's going to fight, but explain your background and how you got into this, Michelle.
I mean, I think that's a good thing, right? Yeah. I did martial arts before I even got into fighting or into anything. So martial arts has always been a huge part of my life. And when I realized that I could, make a career off of fighting, I dove into it. And I continue fighting now, even as a mother, because I feel like I learned so many important life lessons through fighting.
Real? Like what?
A million things, right? You have to learn you have to learn respect. You have to learn sportsmanship. You have to learn about how to strive through adversity. You have to learn how to deal with failure. You put your heart out on the line, and there's only 2 outcomes, right? Win or lose. And so when you lose, what is it that you do with yourself after that loss? It shows a lot about your character. And all of those things I'm able to take and teach my daughter.
I'm curious. It's interesting, too, you talk about the whole win and lose, because you've actually seen some other fighters who there's so much preparation, there's so much hype surrounding fights, especially this time when you're coming back to Tampa after a few years. What is it like when you have so much hype surrounding something and then you do have to pick yourself up? Because there's actually a long time in between fights. That's got to be such an emotional journey.
It is, but that's life, right? It's what do you do when somebody tells you no? What do you do when you get the grade that you don't want to get? What do you do when you didn't get accepted into that college? And so much of us just kind of tuck tail and back off. But no, you don't back off. You dust yourself off and you get back out there and you continue to do what you want to do until you get what you want.
Well, you're not going to have to worry about dusting yourself off. I can just feel vibes. You're going to take this one, of course. Say people, though, have not been to a fight before. What can people expect? Why should they check it out maybe for that first time?
I would say just the energy of going to a live event is like nothing like you've ever known before. And I think something that is special to the UFC is that they allow us to really share our stories, and you become a part of a person's family when you become a fan of somebody. Like if you become a fan of me, I share, pictures of my family, of my husband, of training, of my daughter's first day of school, and you get to know the fighter for the person that they are. So that when you go watch them and you see them fighting, you're emotionally attached.
So speaking of being emotionally attached, let's fast forward. Say your daughter wants to become a fighter and follow in her mom's footsteps. Is that something you tell her to do?
If she wants to do it, she absolutely has my complete support. But she also has to understand the sacrifice it takes, the hard work that it takes, and with doing that, you're not just going to get to the top in one day. You don't get to the top of the mountain in one day, and so she has to understand, the hard work that it takes. But absolutely, whatever she decides to do in life, mommy and daddy are behind her 100%.
Let's talk training. I mean, I cannot even imagine how much training you have to go. And then the nerves to know that, like, the fight's in 5 days, the fight's in 4 days, as we, count down. Explain what you go through as you're leading up to, say, this fight here in Tampa.
Well, okay, so this week we're 8 weeks out. And so outside of having to get yourself ready physically, you have to get yourself ready at a certain weight. So I have to cut down to 115 pounds, and I'm probably sitting around 130, 134 pounds right now. Oh, wow. So that's one of the factors, and the other factor is, like you said, is how do you get your mind ready, right? And a lot of people say a fight is 80% mental, and that's absolutely true. And it can be won or lost before you even step into the octagon. And so preparing your mind as much as you prepare your body is just as important.
How do you prepare your mind? I don't even like a verbal confrontation, let alone the real thing that you do.
Yeah.
Real quick, anything that people would be surprised to know if they've never been around the UFC before and this is like the first time they're checking it out?
I think they'd be surprised to know how passionate and loving and friendly fighters really are.
Yeah, you've shocked me already, I'm not going to lie.
And the reason why I think so is because we have an outlet. You know, it's like me and you both signed this contract to step into the cage and agree upon trying to take each other's heads off, you know?
Whoa, that's so deep. That is so deep.
And so, and at the end of the day, it's kind of like Highlander. We all know there can be only one, right?
Yeah.
And so we go in there and we do our thing.
Well, I'm glad you came in here and shared with us today. There's the information. Again, it's back in Tampa. Go ahead, get tickets. Of course, they're on sale Friday. There's the website, or of course, Ticketmaster. This was a treat. Thanks for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you.